Okay, hello. This is Tamika again, episode 3 of Side-Eye in the City. Hello, viewers. Doesn't look like we have any viewers right now, so that's probably a good thing. Um, Again, this is Tamika, your host, and I'm here with two of my lovely, lovely co-hosts here. I have Sunny. Say hi to Sunny, or say hi, Sunny,
Hello.
I should say.
Hello.
And I also have, you notice Sydney might look a little different this week, and that is because it's not Sydney. Sydney's actually sick today, so we're hoping that she has a speedy recovery and feels better soon. And here in her place is also another of the smartest women I know and someone I love dearly, kind of like a sister, my cousin Christina. So say hi, Chris.
Hi, everybody.
Now I'm just gonna give you a sec to just introduce yourself. Who are you? How did you, why you're here? What you want to talk about? Just give us the skinny. Who are you? Who
Okay.
are you?
Who am I? I think I'm still trying to figure that out myself, but my name is Christina, and Chris is fine. I live in Michigan. It's currently cold as all get out.
So I've heard.
I am Tamika's cousin. I am in a couple of African American organizations, and I've watched the show so far, and I like it. I think that you ladies are talking about a lot of interesting topics that, as a whole, we probably need a lot more dialogue on amongst Black women. So I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, we are excited to have you. Unfortunately, this week we had some more technical difficulties, so my apologies that we're a bit late getting started. We're working on it, folks, so we will get it together, or I should say I will get it together one day very soon. Just not today, so my apologies. My bad. So I'm going to go ahead and get us started and kick us off with, let's see here, what is looking good? Have a list of things to talk about. Okay, well, first, I'm going to start with happy birthday, Zora Neale Hurston. Happy birthday, Zora. Zora, the African-American author, her birthday was actually this week on January 7th. She was born in 1891, and her most popular work, I think, is probably Their Eyes Were Watching God. So if you've ever read that book, and you've read her, brilliant author, anthropologist, historian, just all-around dynamic chick. Anyway, her birthday was this past week, so just wanted to take a moment to give a shout out to the late great Zora Neale Hurston. So yay! Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
I feel like we should be playing like Stevie Wonder or something, like happy birthday. Oh, you know what? That's not trademark, so I'm not gonna do that.
I was ready. I was going in, but okay.
Right? And get the hustle going. Well, cool beans. Okay, so that said, I'm gonna roll into something that I wanted to try with the podcast and just kind of get you guys' feedback and see if it might be something you all would be interested in.
Okay.
How do you all feel about a side-eye book club where we will choose a book to read, and then once maybe the last episode of the month could be sort of dedicated to having like an online digital book club where we discuss a book that we read with our viewers and listeners.
I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea.
Miss Sunny, how you feel?
I'm good with that. I think it's a good one, and not only that, it may bring up some opportunities to give good recommendations for people in the future if they want to read a particular book and kind of get reviews. So I think it'd be good.
Okay. Awesome. Well, cool. Well, I guess I will announce the launch of the Side-Eye Book Club. Let's see. It's the 10th now, so I don't know if we're maybe getting a bit started too late to get started in January. Okay. I don't know. What do you all think? Is it should we make our first selection review in February? I don't know. How fast do y'all read?
Depends on how big and good the book is.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, well, okay. So I guess what's something that you guys would want to read? Like, what do you like? Like fiction? You like sci-fi, biography, history?
Oh. Mm-mm.
I have to let you all choose
No
because
biography and history?
Mm-mm.
you have to choose. I'm more romance novels, or
Yeah.
unless I'm reading something that I have to have for projects. But you'll have to
Okay.
be the one that picks because they won't
Okay.
like my
Oh
suggestions.
man.
I'll
I'm
be like Eric
definitely.
Jerome Dickey.
Ooh.
Okay, okay,
Is that romance
okay.
or is that exotic? I mean, erotic. You know what I mean? I
A little
don't.
bit of both, you know.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
yeah, can't have one without the other, I guess. Okay, well,
I
I mean,
don't
I was
disagree.
thinking we would do
I don't disagree.
Their
I
Eyes
do
for
think I
Watching
disagree.
God, but clearly we're
Oh.
not on that path. So
Mm-mm.
we'll look for
No.
something a little steamier.
Well, it was a
Yeah.
I've read that book. It was a good book, and there's some parts,
There are some fun
I've
parts.
Yeah.
some parts,
Yeah, there are some fun
So
parts. I haven't read it in a while though.
Yeah, I
it's been
haven't
a
read
while
it in a
since I've read
while.
it too.
I don't know.
Hmm.
I still have to go see Selma. I don't know if I'm really ready to, fight off the
I've seen it.
1800s and Selma. That's a lot.
Oh, you have it?
No, I haven't
How'd
seen
you
it.
like it, Sunny?
I saw it Tuesday. A friend of mine had tickets to review, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've been reading some critiques on it, but I'm gonna be honest with you. It's one of those situations where damned if you do, damned if you don't. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? If we don't make movies like this,
Hmm.
people will be upset because they're not giving that historical value, and then they're upset if they're not like totally accurate or not supporting. Maybe we'll say all the individuals involved
Hmm.
in the civil rights movement, but I think it's necessary. I think it's more so necessary now today for young people, especially. I felt when I watched it, it was like I was reminiscing all the things I've read and all the things I talked to my grandparents about. But what made me really think was younger generations watching it. It's bad enough. A lot of young kids don't read, but
Right.
having that visual, it
Hmm.
it really was a good, well put together movie, and it showed vulnerable sides of Martin Luther King, and it showed how he was still human at the end of the day, but it just showed you what is the whole reason for marching. It's like having a goal at the end, and I think I don't want to jump in too soon, but I was going to save it more so when we talked about what Oprah had to say, and I can kind of see where she's coming
Hmm.
from the
Hmm.
perspective of having a true leader and what a leader is supposed to do. Not just getting people to rally, but what's your end objective of everything. So I think Summer was a really good movie.
Okay.
Okay.
You'll have to bring your
Well,
tissue.
Oh,
well,
okay.
that's kind of why I had been holding back on seeing it, just with all that's been going on in Ferguson and in New York and really everywhere. I was like, oh, I don't
Yeah.
know, it's too soon. I don't know.
Emotionally, I cry from beginning to the end, but it's necessary.
Oh
You know
God.
what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like facing it, you know what I'm saying? And just
Right.
being more so inspired, not just watching it on CNN, but seeing what has gone on in history,
Mm.
and to
Mhm.
see how we're still somewhat going through a lot of it, and
Mhm.
how do you face it? Because the reality of it is we are in better times, but we're still in the struggle.
Right.
Right.
So,
Very much so.
Very much so. Well, you
but
know
it's
what, Sonny, I think that what you said regarding our young people seeing this is so important. We have two 11-year-olds, and they go to a rather diverse school. However, we are still the minority. And
right.
as they
Mhm.
get to be friends with more non-African American people, who have no idea what
Right.
struggle is. I think that it will be very helpful to have a movie like Selma for them to see, to give them that opportunity to realize that we didn't just make this up. We weren't just
Right.
slaves
Mhm.
and then boom, we have iPhones. There's a
Right.
Right.
in
Right.
between that a lot of them are missing, and I think that necessary anger or tearfulness, it's definitely
Mhm.
necessary for
It
them as a
is.
whole, because they're not going to learn it. And as far as the critics go, you know what, honestly, you can never make anybody and everybody happy when you make a movie.
Right.
Everyone's
Right.
story isn't going to be told. There are things that are going to be left out, or perhaps, to someone's liking, they weren't completely explored. But as long as the bottom line and the main facts were explored, I think they're just nitpicking, looking for something to say negative about it, because it really looks like a very good movie.
It certainly does.
It was.
And I'm way proud of the director, African American female director, Ava DuVernay, or DuVernay, I may have said that wrong, who nominated for a Golden Globe, and the Golden Globes may have messed up and published that she already won. Right? So, yay! Yeah. So I mean, I'm so proud of her, and I mean, I am going to go and see it. I was actually a little bit afraid of the emotional weight, the emotional test
you're gonna
that
cry.
I'm sure it comes with.
And your heart will be heavy. So that's why I said take your tissues, but at the end of the day, it made me proud. It made me very proud. Do you know what I'm saying? So where I come from, they didn't teach it to me. I had to go off to school, and when I went to college, that's when I took African American history courses, and that's when I got to learn about these things. So I feel like some kids are really deprived. You may be black, but you're not really receiving one from the education system. They're not giving you the full story. 9 times out of 10, some parents aren't even teaching their children about their history because sometimes they don't know everything.
They don't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they don't know.
And I'm not holding that against anyone, but I had to actually, I loved African American history so much, I ended up getting a degree in it. That's not my only degree. I don't want y'all to think I slipped in college. But,
you flattered.
I get credit. Yeah, people criticize me.
Talk to us.
People criticize me, but I found so much interest and love for my history of being a black woman. It made me proud of who I was, and to see what MLK went through, and to see some of the things that they depicted of Malcolm X, and even Coretta Scott King, I think is very important because it shows how a community and people came together for a greater good versus us condemning each other like we see on television. Right. I'm just saying.
Girl, don't get me started. Don't get me started.
I'm about to have a moment where I almost preach, but we'll save that for tomorrow.
Where's my tambourine? Where's my tambourine?
Right? I don't know if I'm doing the holy dance right. Am I doing it right?
No,
that's the club. Sorry.
I will tell you, it was really good to see, and I feel like it's important for children to see because our education systems are not providing that.
Not at all.
And I don't think that's, I honestly feel that's why some children don't love being black, because they don't know the power of what we've been through and how strong we are as people.
Exactly. The majority of what they see as being black is love and hip hop.
Very negative.
Being in these reality shows or being around.
Or even, let's take it even further, that you're going to be killed because you're black.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? It's there's nothing painting a picture of being beautiful and proud of being black nowadays. Not to me. I feel like it's missing.
Right. There's
right. Yeah, it's definitely not pop culture. Yeah.
No. It's here and there, and usually people get labeled for being she's extra, extra Afrocentric or something like that if they try to empower, blackness or just us in general. You end up getting labeled for being flighty or airy, and that's not positive, and that's nothing that makes them or our younger generation want to be involved in it because it's a label, and it, well, never mind, I don't want to do that. So
yes.
Well, with that said,
and it's interesting that you all said that because I was watching an interview with the director, Miss DuVernay, earlier, and she said her #1 goal for the film was to make black folks proud. So sounds like she did that.
I'm very proud, and it was good to see it was multicultural, and there were not just white people in the audience. I mean, not just black people in the audience watching the film that day. There were white people of different ages, and there were some with their children there, and I thought that was beautiful.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe I'll catch a matinee tomorrow. Maybe. Awesome. But I don't think we chose the
tissues.
Okay. All right. Noted. I don't think we chose the book though. I guess we'll hold off at launching until next month.
I was gonna say we didn't pick a book. We might need to submit some different books and decide.
Okay. I mean, I'm Yeah, I'm totally down for that because I don't want to pick anything too heavy or too nerdy or whatever. So yeah, we can definitely like submit them and then I don't know, vote, I guess. Open it up to our viewers, all
Yes.
0 of you.
Yes, exactly.
Submit suggestions. We're certainly open to suggestion. And yeah, I want to read something fun. I think I'm in the mood for something that's not too heavy, something kind of light. So,
Okay.
no.
Hmm.
Am I alone in that?
No, not at all.
I mean,
No.
I could go all intellectual, but
Right now, I need some fun.
Yes.
I need something inspiring.
Right. So Eric Jerome Dickey is not sounding too bad actually, but okay.
I'm just
we'll
saying.
work that out. Hey, girl. Okay, come on now. I have my share of Terry Killen.
Okay.
I'm not gonna front like I have not read those books.
Right.
So
Right.
you get no judgment here.
Yes, not at all. Not at all.
There's a time for academia, and then there is a time for not academia. So
yes.
Awesome. Cool beans. Okay, so let's I guess we'll table that until next month when we pick a book. And then our last episode of February will be our first book club episode. Sound good?
Yes.
Sounds good.
Cool beans. Okay, so who wants to get started or who has something on their spirit that they want to get off their chest or talk about or side-eye?
Well, I'm still side-eyeing the Felicia Rashad, Bill Cosby statement. And I'm not sure if I'm side-eyeing it for the same reasons as everyone else is. I heard that she stated she was misquoted. And that she did not in fact say forget those women. However,
which she totally did, but whatever.
However, I feel like my side eye is like, some stuff just isn't your business.
Yes.
It really doesn't matter how much you know someone. At the end of the day, they are who they are. And no one is ever going to know all facets of anyone, So you could spend time with someone for years and not know that they were molested as a child or, that they came from a really dark place. If they didn't share that with you, you can't say, oh, I know him. They would never. That's just from my life experiences. That's impossible to say. You could never say that. You could say it's hard for me to believe. It's difficult for me to believe because that's not the person I know, which is kind of what I believe Keisha Knight Pullum said, that's not who I knew, not to mention, I think one of my biggest issues with this is that all of these cases, the time frame for him to get jail time is over. So,
unless there are newer victims.
Exactly.
Unless there are more recent victims, yeah.
But at this point, no one is trying to. What are we benefiting, or is anyone benefiting from Bill Cosby looking like a potential or alleged rapist? Nothing.
Right.
Nobody's getting anything out of this. So saying that this is set up to destroy a legacy. Well, okay, so now the reruns aren't on anymore. But all the things that he did are still there. All of the TV shows that he was in when there were only him and Sidney Poitier, acting, they're still there. That's never going to change. A lot of the comedic, hurdles that he jumped over, none of that's going to change. He's not going to jail for this. They're not turning around and saying, you know what, we're wiping the books of Bill Cosby. He never existed. It's not, so the benefit seems like nothing. So my side eye is you saying that, forget all of these women and this is, a conspiracy, a conspiracy. It's like, really, girl? Really? You're killing me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take that and just take it a bit farther and focus just for a minute again on the argument of his legacy and how it's being destroyed. Okay, and pause. Okay, you see how I did that there?
Yes.
You see how I refocused the conversation without dismissing the victims?
Yes, exactly.
I didn't say forget these women.
Right.
my bone of contention with Miss Rashad, well, actually, I have a couple of them. The first one is that she did dismiss those women, just flat out. She did say, forget these women. And that was plain English. You know, everybody read it. Like, there's no gray area there. There's no black and white. She did dismiss those women. Now, perhaps she didn't mean to. She didn't mean to be dismissive of them. But the fact is that she was, plain and simple. And I found her denial of it classless. Like, I lost a lot of respect for her with that. I saw her interview later on with, I think it was Nightline on ABC.
Okay.
And that's when she did the whole, ew, I didn't say that. I'm a woman. I would never say that. And I'm like, okay, come on, Felicia. Come on. Her denial, to me, read, I think she was going for elegant, but it came off as supremely arrogant. And I did not, and I did not appreciate that. I got the distinct impression that she was trying to intimidate the reporter that she was speaking to. And again, what are you doing? Right, as a woman, I mean, she's playing the, I'm a woman card, which if you're going to play that, then as a woman, you should know how what you said is harmful.
She never would have said that in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And now, okay, if she wants to defend him because he's her friend, that's fine. I think any reasonable person could understand that. You're like, you know what? He's my friend. I'm going to take his side and not the women. Okay. But to sit there and dismiss these women as if they don't exist, like how are you going to forget these women and, and what they're doing to his legacy, and these assaults or alleged assaults are a part of his legacy. Like, you can't separate the two. That would be like trying to separate the eggs out of a cake that you've already baked. You can't do that. So I lost a tremendous amount of respect for her. I lost respect for her when she made her statement, and then when she flat out denied it, and then when she had the arrogance to affect this whole, supercilious, almost, how dare you ask me about that, when she got caught on it. I'm done. I don't, I got nothing else. I'm very disappointed. So, Sunny, what do you?
Well, I've been watching. I refuse to watch the interview, but I've watched certain clips. I listen to people go in depth about how, sometimes you have to understand what was her reasoning for coming out in the first place. Did she just have something to promote? Like, I think it was more directed to herself, more so than defending a friend. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you know how they say controversy and good PR, bad PR, it's all still PR at the end of the day. I think a lot of that is a little bit of shock value, one, and then I think she's just that particular age group where they just feel they can say whatever they want to say when they want to say it.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if y'all have that individual in your family, but I got me one in my family.
They're probably watching.
Right. I'm treading that line real thin. But what I guess I'm saying is I feel like what she says means absolutely nothing, because at the end of the day, rape is a serious allegation and action. And I feel like, where was she when it first began? Like, when all this stuff, and not only, you got to remember, the time frame is pretty much set way before the Cosby Show even aired. Right. So the reality of it is, I respected when Keisha Knight Pulliam, I can't ever remember her name, but Rudy was on the Wendy Williams show, and she was kind of going in depth and just saying the accounts, that what she knew of him. And she was just saying about him and their relationship and what she knew of him. It wasn't about defending him. It was just stating, I know him as being a totally different man. And I think that's how you have to keep it. You just have to talk about what you know of that person and not go in depth trying to defend them, because there's a lot of men out here who have put hands on children, and we don't know that. There's preachers who touch young girls and sleep with women in the church house. That may not be the character that they give you, but who they are behind closed doors. We don't know anyone really. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I think I pinpoint more so, what was her purpose of even talking to the reporters or sitting down? Is it a personal goal to get out there with exposure for whatever next project she has? Sometimes I think it's just being seen, being relevant in the eyes, giving that Kim Kardashian. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like, I mean, I would give her the benefit, like, you know, she may have been caught off guard and, you know, not have had time to adequately arrange her thoughts.
On the way
so,
to an interview.
I give her a little bit of credit for that. But the interview, there's no defending that. And I feel like I feel like she damaged her own legacy, to be quite honest. Like, I feel like you're a grown woman standing here babbling about conspiracy theories. Really? Just just say I don't believe them. Like, I feel like I almost feel like that would be better if she just said, you know what, I don't believe them, or that's not the man I know. Like,
or
but to sit here and babble about a conspiracy theory, or no comment, exactly, or no comment. And now I sit here and spout this conspiracy theory, and the Cosby Show has literally been off the air for 20 years. I mean, that has to be the worst conspiracy ever. Like, whoever planned that conspiracy needs to be fired, because that's terrible.
You could have started this conspiracy a long time ago.
Right, and I'm team conspiracy theory. So I even I couldn't get down, and I always believe the But I think if we watch in the next 6 months, we have to see what does she have planned.
Coming up.
Yeah, and was this just promo just for her to get out there? You know, just I hate to say it, but people will do anything just to get back into that limelight. So
you're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. I think that she's a very eloquent woman when she speaks. I think that she knows exactly what she's saying when she's saying it. This stuff has been going on for months, and I don't think that she thought for a second in doing that interview that they weren't going to say something to her about it. So being caught off guard, I'm not going to give her that one. That's my side eye right there. You weren't caught off guard.
Yeah.
You know, not at all. You know good and well they're about to ask you about that. You know what I'm saying? That's just like, you know, somebody that worked with him, or, you know, that's the first thing that someone's going to ask you, you know, because that's what's going on right now. So she knew it was going on. And even if she did want to say, let's take these women out of the picture for a second and look at the bigger picture, that this is about Bill's legacy, that would have even been acceptable. But you sitting there saying, forget these women, you know, I think that you're much better at using words than were right then. I think that's exactly what you meant, and that's why you said it. You know what I mean?
Right. And then you didn't even bother to backtrack, just flat out deny.
Oh no, I didn't say that. And that is definitely the air in a lot of instances that I think Felicia Rashad has given, is that, you know, I am one of the queens of the screen in African American culture, and I can say and do whatever I want because I have paid my dues, and that is true. However, you're not going to discount alleged rapes that have nothing to do with you. You know, that has nothing to do with you, not at all. Nobody's accusing you of raping these women. Then, by all means, you can be as arrogant as you want saying I didn't do it.
Right.
You know?
But here's a bigger question. What if it was her daughter?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Then
exactly.
Everything changes. Until you go through it, until it affects your home, you can't give your 2 cents. That's how I feel about rape. Now, I'm not even going to comment on some of the stories I hear. Sometimes, you know, some women do give false accusations, which hurt people who actually do go through it. But that's not for any of us at any table to say our 2 cents, especially in a public forum.
Yes, exactly.
Because we just don't know unless we've been through it.
Exactly. You're right. You know what, Mika, do you mind terribly if we go to a different direction, but based off of that?
Sure, girl, go ahead.
Since we're speaking about people talking about what they don't know anything about, let's go ahead and talk about this Iggy Azalea fiasco, okay?
Girl.
She don't know nothing.
Let's go.
I mean, you know, when she first came out, of course, I have 5 boys, and all of the boys loved the song, okay? It was so
fancy.
Yes, it was so irritating to me. I'm just like, really, with the fancy? Okay, it's catchy. I got it. It's stuck in my head for at least an hour, but I'm not going to purchase it, even still. So, for me...
Well, you know, the 3,000th time they play it, it's like, okay, we get it. You're fancy.
For
All right,
me,
congratulations.
she's a fabrication. She's 100% put together for this purchasing group. Okay, like her target
Hmm.
audience is like, this is what we like, and they're like, hey, we're gonna make you this because that's what this target audience wants. I'm like, this can't be
Right.
your, this isn't your personality. You know, it's not like you
Mhm.
are acting out who you really are. You know, and not to
Right.
necessarily compare her to Nicki Minaj, but I think that Nicki Minaj, not that I'm a fan or not a fan, but her direction and the things that she did or has done is her personality. You know, I mean, I think that she switches up. She likes to change her voices and have different accents just in her everyday discussions, just being the person that she is. You know, I just can't,
Right.
in my heart of hearts, imagine Iggy Azalea in Australia in school rapping. I just, you know what I'm saying? That's just
Yeah.
not reality. You know, it's like, no, someone found you and was like, I know what we can do with you. You know, that's kind of how I feel like
Mhm.
she came about. And for that reason, it doesn't even register as hip hop to me. It's just, oh, that white girl to sing
Mhm.
that song.
It's
That's pretty
pop.
much who she is. Exactly. Now,
It's
Mhm.
pop.
I don't have any documentation to back this up, but I heard that she was a pop artist in Australia that never really quite curled over, and that
Mm.
Yeah.
she
Okay.
ended up being discovered in that, and they decided to make her more relevant and make it hip hoppy, you know,
I could see that. I could totally see that. Hmm.
which only further, you know, drives in the fabrication, you know. But I mean, she's just then the whole black boyfriend and you know Ti, it's just too much. It's like, you know what? Okay, you know, when she was
Hmm.
going back and forth with Snoop Dogg, Tamika and I have discussed this before. You know I saw the picture that he posted, you know, that was kind of making fun of her. I thought it was very funny, but it was
It was
kind of
mean, but it
hilarious.
was funny.
It was hilarious. It was mean, but it was funny. But my immediate response to everybody saying, "Why is he doing that to her?" Now, it was like, wait a minute, are y'all mad because she's white or because he's saying something offensive? Because other rappers talk about black women all the time, and nobody's running to their rescue. Why is Ti jumping hurdles and bounds for this white girl that's from Australia to prove,
Right.
no, no, that this my girl? Back off. Really? Why? Why isn't
Right.
she subject to the same foolishness that everybody else in the game is? She decided to get into this
Yeah.
game, so you need to take whatever comes with being in this game. Period.
Right. That's my bone of contention with Miss Iggy, is I feel, well, and I have a few. Um, I feel like she's trying on our culture
Hmm.
like it's an accessory, like you try on a pair of shoes.
And it don't fit.
And right, right,
No.
and you know, whether or not it fits, you know, but like, okay, so you're gonna be temporarily black? What? Okay, so that's number one. Like, I feel like she's temporarily performing blackness, and I take
Mhm.
issue with that. But I'd be willing to even put that aside. But this idea, and I don't even know if this is her, but the idea that she can take all the fun parts of being a black female, you know, the hair, the makeup, the look, the
The
you know, the
booty.
butt, whatever,
Hmm.
right? Whatever, which isn't that great if you ask me,
No,
but you
it's
know,
not. It's
I
really
don't
not.
really look at women's butts that often, so I couldn't tell you what a great ass is. I just don't think that's one. But
No, it's not.
whatever. Um, but like the idea that you can try on, like you can cherry pick my
Right.
culture,
Hmm.
which means you can take, you know, the hair extensions and the makeup and whatever, and not take the misogyny and the racism. It's like, wait a minute, hold up, you know,
That
pump your brakes. What is that about?
that comes with it.
And then, right, exactly that comes with it, and like I would go as far as to say the entire hip hop industry has a misogyny problem. Like, this
Absolutely.
is not new. Black women have been disrespected as long as there has been hip hop music. Like, it's,
Absolutely.
again, it's baked in. It's part of the culture. And so for everyone to rush to her defense when, you know, Snoop, who has made his career calling black women bitches and hoes and
I mean,
tricks and any other number of
yes.
expletives you can think of. And granted, what he did was sideways. It was. There's no defending that. But
Hmm.
it's not new.
I'm gonna defend it,
And
but go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna break
okay,
it
but like,
down.
right, but the entire, like, for him to do what he did, and then the entire internet, you know, heads explode. It's like, well, wait, what the hell? Like, what? And then, okay, Now, the whole Ti thing, because that's another thing. It's like,
Oh.
really, Ti? Like, I wonder if she has, like, a bat signal. Like, that she just flashes in the air, and he's like, oh, he's in trouble. And
That's his
goes and
check,
saves her
though.
ass. Like, what the hell is going on?
But I'm going to tell you what it
And I
is.
know that she's his artist, and I get that. But
What do
come on,
pimps
she's
do?
a rapper. Go ahead.
But what do pimps do?
Right. You better say it again.
What do pimps
Save
do?
them. Save them, girl. Save them. That's what they do.
Never
I'm
thought
just
of
saying.
that. You're right. You're right.
We got to protect that investment. Okay? You have to protect that investment.
Literally. Quite literally.
And I may take it so deep because I take offense to it because I like the history of hip hop. Like the history of hip hop is so deep because it was a political stance.
Right.
It was talking about a lifestyle, and it was something that we all had. But if you really break it down even further, everything that Black culture has created, guess what has happened? It's always been someone white. Exactly. So hip hop is no different from rock and roll, and as we take it back, jazz and blues. Now let's take out race. If we take out race, hip hop also is based on having what they have quote unquote beefs and rap battles and things of that nature. If Iggy's gonna come up in here, she's gonna have to understand what comes with that is you're gonna get your feelings hurt. Yeah. But what do you do in return?
A rap feud? Like shit. Biggie, Tupac. Like hello?
I mean,
Nas, Jay-Z. I mean, Kool Moe, LL Cool J. Like, hello, that's what they do.
Little Kim and Foxy Brown.
Exactly.
Thank you.
And then I can
Remy Ma shooting people. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Right? Everybody. Like
Kanye in the world.
Right? So hip hop is so much bigger than what people respected, but if you also even look at how people look at hip hop today, it's kind of garbage, and it's run by a white man's demand of producing and making money. It's ran by greed. It's been taken and processed and put into a whole nother culture that we're even playing into. Like, look at Bobby Shmurda. Bless that little boy heart. He about to go serve some real time because you done told all the crimes in the hood on your little rap album. And yes, it did well, but guess what? While they're cashing checks, he's going to serve time. Wow. So it's one of those situations where I'm not a fan of Iggy Azalea. When she first came out, I was not feeling her. I'm not feeling Macklemore. I respect Eminem because Eminem comes from a culture of he knows real music from the street. He does, even though he does say some things that are a little off wall, sometimes he does have a message in some of his music. And I think what we're looking at is we have to redefine what hip hop is because it's not what it was. If we can't use that same term 20 years ago, that what is now, because it's been taken, and yes, there's been some people who've been blessed with it. I mean, look at Jay-Z. He's built a career off of it and made it even bigger. But the reality of it is, what we're listening to now is horrible music. It's just noise. And I'm not saying that because I'm getting older. I'm just saying it doesn't have that message anymore. And even when you look at the 90s and 2000s, yeah, we were at least out there booty popping with it, and no, there really wasn't a message, but it was still something that brought us together in a whole nother sense, and now there's nothing there with it. It's just noise now. And I think, like, Kendrick Lamar's and the J. Cole's, they need to be out here, and that Azalea Banks, I'm glad that sometimes I don't agree with what she has to say, but she's out here barking. And guess who jumped on her when she started barking? T.I. He went against her.
No pimp like
he really went hard against her.
No pimp.
From another plot.
Ironic. It's like, okay, so you're defending your artist, ostensibly, is what you're doing, but you are disrespecting the hell out of a black woman in the process.
Exactly.
And everybody's okay with that.
She on another corner.
That's right. He can't help him. But exactly. I think what the problem I also have is, how do black men view white women and black women nowadays? I mean, I think how they protect them and coddle them and put them on a pedestal. Well, I think all of it plays
the pedestal. Like, clearly, there is a pedestal, and black chicks are not on it.
Always. Even back in slavery. And what's so sad, you know what's so sad about music? Music has so much influence that I don't think people even understand the importance of what you put out there. Right. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, yes, NWA was speaking something that they grew up in and knew about, but I'm going to tell you one thing. they were putting themselves on a pedestal when nobody else was putting them on a pedestal. Some people may disagree with me, but I'm going to go watch that movie when it comes out. But, you know, I think it told their story. And now this music that we have out now is not telling a story. And not everybody's a thug and pretending to live this lifestyle. And you telling somebody out there in the street, go kill this, to lose your whole life over nothing. You know what I'm saying? And these gold chains and all this bull crap. That's not real. That's why I'm falling so in love with that little Kendrick Lamar. I just wish he would clean up a little bit. But I love him. But, I mean, when we break hip-hop down, it's just sad.
I have a question. What is a Bobby Shmurda? Like, who, what, why?
Good question.
I'm lost. Okay.
He is a entity that is scary. He's like a Chief Keef. When I see these young people out here that scare me, I'm like, there goes a Chief Keef.
I'm pretty sure Mika don't know what Chief Keef is. I don't think Mika know who Chief Keef is.
Oh, Lord. He's a young man from Chicago. It's a young man. He's a rapper from Chicago. And he is scary and grimy. When you just see him on interviews, you'd be like, what? Like, why they hadn't locked him up sooner? So that's why when I see these young people, I call them that. And I know that's horrible. I got to work on it. But some of these kids, they just,
So wait.
But I ain't gonna lie, I did the Bobby Shmurda dance.
Okay.
It's
so
a person.
Is he the guy that like sold drugs and then wrote songs about how he sold drugs? Is that the one that?
Yeah. And then he said about a week ago, and then he does the dance.
Okay. And now he's going to jail
because he was still selling drugs and got caught with a bunch
yeah.
of guns and said drugs. So yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna
He
pose
told
another
the whole story on the rap
question.
song.
That's my question. It's like, okay, so you're involved in illegal activities currently, and you made a song about your current illegal activity.
Didn't we learn that from Cameron in the game back in 2000?
Am I missing something? Like, I don't think you have a master's degree. You have to have a master's degree to realize that's really not a good idea.
Here's the killer part. He even put his homeboys' names in it, so his homeboys got picked up too. So the whole Shmurda crew got picked up because he put everything in the song. Because you remember we said caught a body about a week ago?
Really did.
We know what that means.
He, like, send police a Google map to his house? Like, I don't get it.
Damn near.
Yes, it was like you saw. So the lyrics, you said, "We did it, we did it." Yeah, that's pretty much what he did.
They shot a video.
Right.
They did. Right. They had the whole crew in the video. Like, he led them to everybody. Okay. Like when even if you look at the video, everybody in the video got picked up. You'd be like, I'll be damned.
Damn. So like they could use it. They don't even need to do a lineup. They could just like play the video.
Yeah.
And and the sad part is it went viral really fast and it like has millions of views. And that young man just told on everybody in the game.
Wow.
I was like, all right, hip hop.
Okay.
So that's why we gotta change it.
Mr. Shmurda. I'm assuming that ain't his name, right? Never mind. Whatever.
Bobby Shmurda. Hey, we're gonna send a prayer out to him and hope he's all right.
Prayers to Bobby Shmurda.
Don't drop the soap. Don't drop the soap.
Right?
You're so bold. You're so bold, but that's hilarious.
It's sad.
It is
sad. It's funny.
I don't think that our young people realize what Sonny said, that the hip hop industry has become an industry, and they're being used to sell records. No one cares about you. So
it's not art.
Right.
Actually, I would even go as far as to say they're used to sell products. Like it's not even just records, because nobody buys records, but people buy Jordans.
That's what it is. That's what it. And that's exactly what Iggy is. Iggy is a product. That's it.
That's it.
I could make an Iggy right now if I picked up the little girl that walks past my house every day to go to school and put some weave in her hair and, you know what I'm saying, got her one of those booty girdles that I keep seeing on Instagram.
Oh, wait.
We could make a product.
Get this on Instagram. Hold on, I'm just kidding.
But you know what? The sad part is she doesn't even know it, but she's not going to be. No. Her longevity is going to be so short. There'll be a new one next week.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, honestly, I feel like next week she'll be a country star. Like, I feel like her standing as a rapper is just that superficial. It's just that, yeah.
And the sad part is she has that platform to do it.
Yes, because you're white.
With blue eyes and blonde hair.
Because she's exactly, and that, my friends, is privilege.
Yes, yes.
Right.
Exactly.
And that's why I think there's a piece of me that loves Nicki Minaj. Like, no, don't get me wrong, I can't stand all of her stuff, but have you noticed that she's been in a lot of good movies? I'm not saying the best Academy Award winning, but she's in movies that have a different kind of following. She's branding herself so differently, and I think she realizes. Look at poor Lil' Kim. We all loved Lil' Kim. And now
you know what? I like Nicki Minaj. Like, I feel like she's a true artist. I feel like she's a lyricist and an artist. And a performance artist. If that, like, I'm not going to say that I am 100% riding for everything she does, because she can be problematic. And her lyrics can be sexually exploitive. But she's an artist. And the best artists court controversy. And she does that. So... You know, I'm not going to take away from her for that.
She brought a lot of newness to African-American women in hip-hop. You know, she didn't just go straight the Little Kim route. You know, I know Kim hates her soul, but she, you know, started out with that whole Harajuku, you know, Japanese thing. Like, that's not, you know, here. That's not something that we do here regularly. So, you know, she came from a different angle, which she's an artist. I think she's very creative. I think that, you know, like you said, it can be a little misguided at times. However, I think that being an artist, that happens. So, you know, like I said, I'm not going to say I wouldn't call myself a fan. I think some of her stuff I like and some of it I don't. But, you know, I think that she definitely is an actual artist. And as she has kind of evolved, she's not wearing pink hair anymore. She's actually wearing her black hair, you know. But at the time, that's what she was doing. I mean, you know, if you look back to what I was wearing in 94, you know, I might be a little like, oh, God, did I really have that on? You know, so, you know, you evolve as you get older and you change, you know, but I don't think that she's an actual product. So
No, absolutely not. No. And that therein lies the difference. Yeah.
And she has a good hand on her brand, and I think that, I mean, maybe we can look at it differently, but I even say for her to strip all that bull off of her and embrace her natural beauty, that can say something to a little black girl, to accept yourself for who you are. I mean, it may sound deep, but, I mean, we have to start looking at every time you see a black woman out there on that mainstream and say, okay, hopefully a little girl will aspire to be okay. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we don't see ourselves so much in a good light. And yes, Anaconda is not the best of songs.
Probably not.
You know.
But it is a great workout song. It's a great workout song.
Okay.
And she knows she knows how to take even those off the wall things and turn her brand into something else. But we also have to look at, she does a lot of things off of the camera for community that I think could be very beautiful. So
lots of charitable things. So
So I love when she snaps back at old Iggy Azalea.
Well, I think especially when when other female artists criticize her, even though their criticisms are 100% valid, I feel like there's always the risk of sour grapes or it being labeled, oh, you're just hating.
Right.
Even though because I feel like Azalea Banks gets a lot of that, and like, even though like she's had a history of, you know, going after other artists.
Right.
I feel like she gets that label a lot, even though what she's saying, she's 110% correct. She really is. But coming from another female artist and coming from another black female artist,
right?
Her critiques, even though valid, are automatically dismissed because that's the first thing anyone thinks. Oh, she's just hating, and
she's actually really talented. I didn't buy it, but I heard some of her songs, and
nobody buys anything.
Nobody buys anything. See, you both already have me beaten, because I only know Azalea Banks from hearing her talk smack about other people. I've never actually heard anything that she's actually done. I couldn't. You could play a song right now, and I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know who that is. I have no idea.
You wouldn't, because even when I was listening to it, I'm like, okay, go ahead. Now I feel bad for her because she's kind of done some things to herself, you know. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's like sometimes pick your battles and pick them wisely. At least get you a single out before you start hating.
Can we get famous before we critique? That,
Right.
you're like almost famous, barely.
Right.
And
And she
now
just
you already have stuff to
came for
say about other
everybody.
people, right? For all the time, and that's all I know her for is for coming for people. Like,
Right.
if
Yeah.
you
But
could
yeah. That
play a
is.
song, if you could just play a song, put up a picture with the name of your album, because I don't even know. I know
Yeah.
nothing. I don't know
And
anything.
she's got a good CD. So, I hate that for her.
Oh
But
well.
yeah.
Oh
Well,
well.
hopefully we are lighting the match and starting the fire and
Maybe.
burning that damn Iggy. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's not a threat. Don't come after
You
me.
know,
Leave me alone,
she
T.I. I don't want her, okay?
well, you know what? She will win the Grammy. She will take that Grammy
Oh,
home.
girl.
It's just
If
guaranteed.
she wins that
But
Grammy, it
All
is
this.
going to be some
look at
trouble.
Macklemore. And Kendrick Lamar
Also,
dropped a high
a bucket
C.
of BS.
Now, Malcolm Moore, I
Even
actually, I kind of liked him before he started talking, but,
Well,
just
that's always the case.
the music I like the music, but, we have to accept where we are, and the Grammys and,
yeah,
all of those different types of awards, they are driven by non-black people. So when there's a
yeah,
non-black person doing something, even if it is within our culture, they're more than happy to lift that one person up. It's just kind of unfortunate, that it is what it is, but I think we have to try harder to place ourselves in these venues that we can be more helpful so that it doesn't just automatically go to the white girl, regardless of her talent. And no
right.
shade to white girls, you all are fine. Okay.
No shade to white girls.
I'm just saying.
No shade to Iggy Azalea, but
Well,
honestly,
I'm kind of shady. I don't know.
a little shade to Iggy
I'm kind of
Azalea.
okay. I'll take a little,
But
little
not as
shade to
much as
Iggy.
we're going to be accused of.
Right, exactly. I
Like,
think
I'm a palm tree over here.
okay.
I'm like a palm tree with my shade, and I'm gonna admit it. I'm giving it all shade. Because I guess I look at
Oh, I'm not
look
going to
at
Felicia. I didn't say that.
in history.
I didn't say that.
Well, I said it.
Right.
But no, I guess I look at it differently because I appreciate hip hop. So on that note, we just got to learn how to change the terms and
Right.
put things in categories because it's not hip hop. It's not what
Okay.
hip hop stands for.
No.
Okay, I'd be
No.
willing to change the categories or name it something different.
Best bubblegum fake rap artist
Ooh.
of the year with a big fake ass.
Let's call it pop because that's what
Is that? I think that's a fair category.
Pop and
And
pop with rap in it.
win.
Pop with rap in it. I don't know.
Best rapish album.
Rapish.
Rapish.
Yes, rapish.
Yeah.
Kind of like rubbish. Kind of like rubbish, but rapish. Yes.
I didn't say that.
Yeah.
Leave me alone, T.I.
Just saying. I'm just saying.
Okay, so I guess since we're talking about entertainment, did either of you ladies watch the new Fox show Empire with Taraji and Terrence? What's his name? Terrence Howard.
No.
Did anybody other than me watch
Yeah.
that?
So I watched it with the volume
The
off.
twisted lip, Chris. You didn't watch it.
No. What's that foolishness?
Wait a minute. Let's talk about it.
Girl, that's like, okay, what was the
Because
first
I think
movie?
I might
Yeah,
like
let's talk
it.
about it.
What was the first movie that those two were in together as the pimp and the singing hooker?
Oh. Oh my God! What was that movie? It was
Well, anyway, this looked to me.
yeah, I can't think of
Flow.
the name, but I know what you're talking about.
This.
Thank you, Hustle and Flow.
Hustle and Flow. Yes, this looked to me like Hustle and Flow with a much better budget. Okay.
Okay.
And just from the
Okay.
commercials, and I.
The wardrobe, anyway. Yeah.
Right. I watched probably a good 7 minutes of Hustle and Flow. Okay, 7, and I was done. So I knew that Empire wasn't going to be for me, so I didn't watch it.
Okay.
But I'm,
Fair enough.
I've heard things about it. A lot of my sorority sisters, were on the text chat talking about it, and they really were excited about it. So hey, okay, by all means enjoy, but I don't find myself being on the Empire list. I just don't. And I mean, I love Taraji. Terrence Howard, I think
Mhm.
is really cute. I think he might definitely be a jerk in real life, but I think he's a good actor.
I
But
didn't know all that stuff about him until this week.
really,
What the hell?
where you been?
No. Like, is he another Cosby? Like, where have I been? Am
No,
I the only
he's
one? Like,
not
I swear, I'm like, where? What the hell?
He's been out here beating up women
Yeah,
for a minute.
he's got quite an interesting life, as far as his history and
He's got a very problematic history.
yes, he
Like,
does.
for real, for real.
Yeah.
Indeed, indeed. But I still,
Huh.
as an actor, not about his personality, I think that he is a
Mm-hmm.
great actor, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure that it'll be
I would agree.
successful. Although I have absolutely no intention of watching it, none.
Okay, I'm gonna jump in there. I'm not sure. To me, it doesn't. I don't see longevity in this
Okay.
one. I did watch it. I watched the premiere. Um, I love the music. The music was bomb. Like
Okay.
seriously, Timbaland did his thing, and
Yeah.
it would be worth it to watch it for the music. The writing, I found the writing a little choppy. Like I got the feeling that there were scenes cut out because the narrative just sort of was a little bit choppy to me.
Okay.
So I think that there's definitely room for a lot of room for improvement there. But overall, I don't see this being a show that lasts very long. Like I feel like it's going to be one of those shows that they're going to try it for a few weeks and then it's going to disappear. That was my impression. I don't think it's because I was checking out what Black Twitter had to say about it, and
Ooh,
there
okay.
seemed to be two camps. There was a love it camp and there was a hate it camp, and
Yes.
both camps had some valid
Points.
points. I think I'm somewhere in between. I don't hate it. I don't think it's the worst show ever. Um, I do think that it's a soap opera, and maybe it wasn't marketed that way.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
like
okay.
it's like half soap opera, half musical, which is a little weird.
Okay.
That's a very strange sort of juxtaposition
Combination.
there.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah. It's if I had to grade it, I'd give it a C, maybe a B minus for the music. Maybe that might drag it up a half grade, but I don't think it was as awful as some people said, and I don't think it was as wonderful as people said. And I think that I love Taraji, and honestly, like I think she kind of her performance to me. Well, I'm gonna explain her character.
Okay.
She plays Cookie,
Hmm.
and she's get in the opening episode. She's getting out of jail for I don't know. I guess she gets busted for selling drugs or something.
Okay.
And she's been in jail for 17 years. And she used the money to start this label for her husband, who is problematic and abusive, but we won't talk about that for now.
Terrence.
Notice how I didn't say forget her though. So she uses like the money to start the label, and then she goes like basically she takes the fall.
Okay.
And while she's in jail for 17 years, like he basically keeps the kids from her, leaves her
Mm.
for some other chick.
Okay.
He's basically a dick.
Okay.
And then she gets out
Mm.
in the opening episode, and she's
Pissed.
pissed,
Yes.
quite salty. And so just with that backstory,
Mm.
I can't say I know what it's like to be in that position, but I imagine if I were her, I would be quite salty too.
Yes.
That said, I felt like her performance was way over the top, like almost cartoonish with the attitude.
Mm.
Um, I don't know. That's just my impression. I guess I'm not, given to a lot of neck rolling and finger popping or whatever. But she just like, I almost wanted to say Taraji, just take it down a level.
Okay.
But then I don't know. I guess if you put yourself into that scenario, you're like maybe you would be that way, or maybe I could see how a person would be that way. But I found her performance a little bit over the top
Okay.
for me.
Okay.
So I don't know. That's my impression. What do you think, Sunny?
Well, I think from what I gather, what we saw was supposed to be just their pilot. So hopefully it'll have
Right.
more meat and potatoes to it as it goes in. But she, of course, I have to refer back to what I saw in Wendy Williams because I love Wendy Williams. And Taraji was on the show and basically saying that Cookie does evolve, but Cookie is just defensive and pissed right now. So I think Cookie's character does
extremely, yeah.
bring it down a notch.
Okay.
So we shall see. But I'm excited to see it because I heard people talk about that show Power. Have y'all ever seen that show Power? 50 Cent. It was
I
one of
haven't
50
seen it, but I've
Cent.
heard a lot about it.
You know I didn't watch that. Okay.
Okay, but I heard it was good. And see, I don't have Showtime. I'm not gonna pay that.
See, a lot of the dudes that I know that were all into it, I was like, I don't necessarily value your opinion. So the fact that they really liked it, I was like, oh no, I'm probably
a little scary.
Yeah. But I mean, I did hear good things about it. I did hear really good things about it, and I heard that it was well written and it was better written than what a lot of people thought, it was going to be. And I want to say it was Showtime periodically does that, it's free for like 2 or 3 weekends. So during that time, I think a lot of people, I think it's free this weekend, but a lot of people saw it during that time and got Showtime because of it. So, I don't know. I know 50 Cent is either a producer of it or is he in it or something like that. Something like that. But
I think he's a producer. I think he's both.
Is he in it? Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
I think. Now, don't quote me because I've never seen it, but I want to see it. And I kind of felt like, if I can't get Power, I got Fox, so maybe I can catch this and kind of get into it.
Yeah,
so I may give it
for Power. I have no Power.
Episodes. Yeah, girl, I ain't got it either. Don't feel bad.
Right.
So no, I think I'll give them 2 episodes. And then give my critique on it because I don't want to just come out the gate hating it. So
right,
we'll see.
Yeah, I figure I'll give it a couple more episodes and kind of see where it goes. It's honestly worth it just for the music. Like the music is really, really good.
Can we just download that? We gotta watch the show.
You're so shady. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna jump to a related subject. Is I think one of the reasons why it gets so much props and so much cred is that we don't get to see brown people on network television in prime time ever. And I feel like the show is together. And I feel like the show is benefiting a lot from frankly just from novelty, just because it's it's unusual in that regard, regardless of how good it is. I don't know. Would you all think that that's a fair assessment?
I think on one hand it's a fair assessment because you're right. We don't have a lot of primetime brownness anymore. However, for me, the fact that the base money to build this company was made off of drugs that the black lady went to jail for, it's like, okay, we always have to have a starting platform of drugs, alcohol, or prostitution or something like that. Can I get somebody who had a dead auntie that left him some money? I mean, you know what I'm saying? And we don't have any other way to get ahead but selling drugs. Like, no one can actually be intelligent. And you know what? My granddad actually had a job, and he left us this, money. I mean, I know people who have doctors as grandfathers, and then the father, and then the grandson. All of them were doctors. Where are those stories? Everybody that's brown has to come up off of drugs and alcohol and prostitution. And I'm not saying that those aren't actual cases, because they are, but why are those the only stories that have to be put on TV? That's what I'm saying. So
it definitely it's playing all the tropes. It really is. So that, you're right. It every single stereotype, every single trope is all there.
I saw so much fur. Right. I saw so much fur in the first commercial. I was like, does everybody have on a fur?
So much fur. So much fur. Like, I'm surprised PETA is not all over this. Like, what the hell is this? Like, hello?
Fur and leather.
I don't know. What
everywhere.
Do you think, Sunny? Right?
I'm sorry.
So what do you think, Sunny? As far as I
can't,
the brown people on TV.
It's scary
Hello?
to see us on TV sometimes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
No, no, I'm just saying it's scary sometimes when we see a pilot come up and it's an African American cast. You're like, oh, here we go. And
You know
I don't
what?
know.
You're right. Yeah.
I guess it's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't. So and there's a piece of me that says at least there's black actors getting jobs, but then there's a piece of me that says this is what they're going to think of us. Uh,
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm going to have to watch about 3-4 more episodes to really come back
And
with
that's
my
fair. That's
opinion.
totally fair. It is. That's totally. And I
It
mean,
is
I love
fair.
Taraji and I love Gabby Sidibe, so and the music, so I'd watch it just for them. But
Maybe
I
I'll
don't
watch
know.
Yeah.
one.
It's a mixed bag.
Maybe I'll watch 1 or 2. Okay, maybe.
But you know what I will say? I'm glad it's scripted versus another reality. I think I would
Oh,
cry
okay.
if there
Yeah.
was another black reality
Yes.
added. So I'll take
Me
the
too.
scripted
Yeah.
Me too.
versus the other.
Speaking of which, ladies,
Yeah.
have
But when
you
the
ever talked
scripted and the realities are telling the same story,
right?
I don't
Well,
know if that's progress.
Yeah.
have you ladies talked
What were you
about
saying, Chris?
have you ladies talked about sorority sisters?
No,
No, we
I
have
was saving that
not.
for you. Please kick us off. Go ahead. No, seriously, like I have been marinating on that for a few weeks, and yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
Kick us
well,
off.
as a woman in a black woman in a African American sorority organization, I am a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I pledged at Delta Beta chapter, which is at Eastern Michigan University in 1998, and I there's two sides of it. I heard a lot of people saying, why weren't y'all mad about, Real Housewives and all of that? Honestly, I was, still am, don't watch it,
Mhm.
never have. And Love and Hip Not. I don't watch that either. Because for me, I have an issue with watching television shows that make us look bad. Not just brown people, but especially black women. I feel like black women already
Mhm.
have such a hard way to go. We have to conquer the hair hurdles. Is your hair straight? Is it curly? Is it real? Is it not real? Once we conquer that,
Yeah.
okay, what complexion are you? Are you light? Are you dark? Are you kind of brown or caramel? All of these hurdles just to get there, and then we get there and act the plum picking fool. I think that that's terrible. So
Mhm.
I never really watched any of it, but it's not about elitism, and a lot of people who aren't in Greek organizations think that we're saying we're better than non-Greeks, and that's why this is a problem. That's not really it.
Mhm.
Honestly, I can only speak for my particular organization, but we actually have rules that you have agreed to upon initiation that speak to your behavior when you are representing the organization, whether it's wearing letters or just in name. You simply saying, I'm a member of this organization is representing the organization. So the way that you act at that time is important. And I'm not saying that you don't do things, that are wrong. I clearly, I can't say that I don't have a colorful past. However, those colors aren't broadcast on television. You
Right.
have the right to be whoever you are. And of course there are deltas and zetas and AKAs that are loud and ridiculous, and everybody has someone in their life that's extra. And them being in an
Mhm.
organization, that
Mhm.
doesn't make them not extra. It's just when you're representing that organization, you are supposed to put your best foot forward. So going on TV purposely to represent these organizations and in turn acting a fool is what is making the Greek community angry. You know, because again, like I said, no, we're not better than anybody. We're not elite. It's not that sort of thing. It's just okay. Back when a lot of our organizations were started, 1913, 1908, 1911, 1906. Those were the years where there were small groups of black people in colleges. So we
Mhm.
did have to stick together. We did have to come up with organizations that were for us because there weren't organizations for us. So all of those
Mhm.
organizations that started these, this path for us, it's wonderful, and a lot of them, their goal was to help others into college, to help others get here. So with that type of history and legacy you know, it's difficult to accept someone throwing water in faces and calling each other bees and, you know, all of this. It's like you're really watering down what these organizations were founded to do. And again, that's not saying that any of us aren't crazy. You know what I'm saying? I know plenty of crazy Deltas. I love them all. Okay. But when it comes down to the organization and doing community service and being there for girls on our campuses that need help and, you know, making sure that we're raising money for charitable organizations, they're, you know, in to neck, you know, they're doing as much as they can for those things. That has nothing to do with their personal life. You know, I would never put my personal life on TV. Okay. Ever. So, you know, whether I was saying that I was a Delta or not, I just wouldn't, because I don't want my personal life exposed. And it's like you all are knowingly being paid to expose your personal dirty laundry while wearing this T-shirt. And that's what makes it irritating. You know, it's not any better than Housewives. It's not any worse than Housewives. You know, and people to say, well, this is even worse. No, it's not worse. It's just another avenue at which we are making ourselves look a fool on television. You know, I think that it's been proven over and over again that television, unfortunately, tells other cultures who we are. And we continue to make ourselves look like Black women are loud. We like to overtalk each other. We got to roll our necks and snap our fingers anytime that we speak. We're not intelligent. You know, all we can do is fight each other and wear clothes that's revealing and, you know, buy several thousand inches of weave. And you know what I'm saying? Like these are all of the things that are spotlighted in all of these shows. And it's like, you know, even some of the women in these shows I actually think are intelligent women. You know, I'm not necessarily, I wouldn't call myself a K. Michelle fan per se. I like a couple of her songs. I actually think that she's very talented. However, the way that she's portrayed herself, it, you know, it just kind of makes you go, you know, well, what's really going on? She's got a lot of personal stuff, you know, personal, I won't necessarily say demons, but she's got some swirl, you know, some stuff going on. But you going on and say, oh, yeah, and by the way, I'm a Delta, you know, it's kind of like, okay, well, that's fine. You know, who knows where you were in your life when you did that? You know, now you're somewhere else. But it just makes you kind of look at it like, why are you all doing this? What's the point? You know, you needed to get a check this bad, you know, so haven't seen it, but.
Yeah.
You know what, and I'm glad you said that.
Good.
No, go ahead.
You know, I watched it. I did watch it, I admit. I'm glad that you gave us that explanation, because I have to admit, like when I first heard some of the critiques from the Greek letter organizations, even though I knew they weren't being elitist, I'm like, this sounds dangerously close to elitism. Right. So I think you just gave a very clear and succinct argument in defense of your position, and it is 1,000% valid. You are completely on the money. Correct, and I get it now. I totally get, you know, why the Greek letter organizations, and frankly, why most people want this show to go away. I will say, and again, this is not a defense of reality television by any means, but something that I've noticed about reality shows is that the point of them, at least as far as I can tell, the point is to make the subject look ridiculous.
Exactly.
Like, and that's all of them. That's any of the housewife shows, not just the Atlanta one. That's Lies and Hip Hop or Love and Hip Not or however you want to call that one. That's, you know, Honey Boo Boo. Like, I feel like the point of reality shows is to make the people that they're portraying look as ridiculous as possible. Okay. And so I guess I've kind of given them a pass because all shows do that. Like that they're not any different. That doesn't make it, by any means, that does not make it excusable. Right. And as a Black woman, absolutely, I have a problem with the only image of myself that seems to gain any traction is, you know, hair pulling and wig pulling and table flipping. Oh, actually, that was a white housewife. But like, you know, ratchetness. Right. You know, I do have a problem with that. But I think that it's not unusual. It's not new, and it's not unusual. Right. And it's it's a problem in general, I think, with the genre. That's not just unique for once to black shows. Like I feel like all these shows make the subjects look ridiculous. Even the Kardashians. Like even, they have like, I don't know, like 7 million hours of, reality footage. And if you ever watch it for a few minutes, at least I don't know, my opinion is like they look ridiculous. And it's a show about them. It's supposed to be, exalting them and honoring them. And honestly, I think they often end up looking, and from the episodes I've seen, and I am not a regular watcher by any means, but I have seen like maybe 1 or 2 episodes, and in both of them, I couldn't get over how silly they looked, how utterly ridiculous they looked. And that is a choice. That is a deliberate choice by the producers. So,
because that's what gets
I don't know. What do you think, Sunny? Well, exactly. Like, I feel like a reality show about me would be boring as hell because I'm not, snapping on people. At least not yet. I don't know. It's early, though. I don't know. What do you think, Sonny?
Well, Miss Christina, please shut me down at any point you feel I'm out of line because I didn't pledge.
Okay.
But I remember when I was in college and I was interested in pledging, the guidelines specifically state everything that you just said about how you should represent your sorority or fraternity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my thing is, you're college educated, and I would hope you'd have common sense. Why would you even sign up to anything associated with VH1 or Mona Scott, in that sense, knowing that what she turns television into, she does not care about black people.
Exactly.
And it's like you're airing dirty laundry. So yes, I think every organization's got its issues, but the reality of it is, these are our historical African American, what am I trying to say?
Organizations, Greek letter
organizations that have history, and you're just now selling your soul to the devil just for a check.
For a check.
And
this is a legacy being destroyed. You're right.
Because you know what's happening?
Exactly.
Like you said, what people see overseas. I met someone who went overseas for a few months to tour, and the first thing someone from overseas started to do was talk broken English to her and speaking to her with the necks and the snapping, and she was offended. But the reality of it is, if we put it out there, we cannot get mad when they think that's who we are. Mm-hmm. And the reality of it is, I can't understand how women would go on TV, especially being a part of a historically black organization when black people got issues right now, let's be honest.
Exactly.
And would be okay with airing the fact that they don't like their sister. Does that make sense? It's like,
absolutely.
My situation in understanding and the pledging, I didn't get to go through the process, but I learned enough about the process to know that it's like, it's not open for a reason to everyone, and it's not an open book to tell. Because even when my friends who were in fraternities, they had everything so secure, and they took pride in having that secret society. And I feel like those young ladies don't take pride in what they are a part of, and they're disrespecting it.
Even if they did, they've decided to turn that in for a check. You see what I'm saying?
And then we have to be careful because sometimes people don't pledge for the right reasons. They pledge for the opportunity to stroll on campus versus standing what it means and having that sister go into longevity. And I think that's something that this is not helping young girls who are in college right now making decisions, or young girls going to college. And I feel like it's hurting the organizations because if you see that negativity, you're going to see, so how does it benefit me? Versus, because I don't think they're taking consideration of what you're putting out there is influencing some young girl to make a decision of whether or not she gets involved or not get involved, or it's saying it's okay to act this way if you're in this particular organization. So,
well, honestly, I don't think any of the cast members of that show have even thought beyond their own paycheck. Like, I honestly, because if you do, you couldn't do it.
And I don't know if this has ever been said or published, but how many are still paying? What is it? It's not dues, but what is it to keeping your status?
It is dues.
Is it dues? How many are still active members? You know what I'm saying? Before they even signed on, how many are still active?
I mean, it's a matter of what it means to you, and I think that, again, your reason for joining a Greek letter organization, spans a huge gambit, you know, whether it's because it's a legacy thing, your mother was in it and she expects you to do it. You know, it may not even be something that you love, but it's something that you feel like you have to do. Is it because all of your friends, you know, wanted to do it, and you know, you may not have known a lot about it, but now you do. Has it been a dream of yours? You know, something that you've always aspired to do? Did you learn about it and say, oh, wow, this is amazing? You know, there's so many different reasons as to why people join organizations. It's difficult to just put them in a box. Truly, you know, Delta is something that means so much to me, you know, that I would never disrespect the organization, let alone myself. But I would never go on TV and publicly act a fool. You know, I would be lying to say that every woman that pledges an organization doesn't have someone who they don't always get along with, that they, you know, may or may not have the best relationship with. But for me personally, we work together. We try and work it out. You know, if we have to do, we had to do a program together, and this person wasn't necessarily my best friend, she's still my sorority sister, and I'm still going to do what I need to do to get stuff done. You know, I may not go to her house every day. You know, we may not bake cookies together. She may not be my baby's godmama, but you know, we're still respectful to each other. We still get along. We still have a good time with each other. You don't have to act a fool. I couldn't even wrap my mind around fighting one of my sorority sisters. You know, I would much rather just not deal with them if we didn't get along on that level, you know, but I would never dream of, you know, thinking and putting myself in that, you know, I'm gonna whoop her tail. Like, you know, like, no, you know, we've had words, we've had, you know, unpleasant discussions, you know what I'm saying? All the way down to arguments. But again, I would never put that on television. You know, never. You know, no one's saying that it doesn't happen, but I would never put that on television. That's just, you know, kind of what it is. There's so many different ways and reasons why people are in organizations and how they operate in the organization. Anyone in any Greek organization, male or female, will tell you, yes, there are shady people in the organization. Yes, there are people who don't do what they're supposed to do. Yes, there are people who haven't paid dues in 37 years, you know, but that doesn't take them out of the organization. They're still in the organization. You know what I'm saying? And their love for it and their respect for the rules, you know, is supposed to be there regardless of what their reasons are, because they're there. You know, you've made this commitment. But like I said, airing dirty laundry on television has become so, you know, commonplace, you know, and even not even overseas. When I moved to Arizona from Detroit, I constantly, I worked for American Express for a while as a travel agent, and I constantly got, you don't act anything like I thought you would. Like you don't act like those girls on TV. Oh, and it took like everything. It took everything in my soul not to snap. You know, because then after someone is
which would then legitimize what they thought.
That's what I'm. You know, it's like it makes you go. You know, I really would like to do exactly what you think I'm going to do, but I'm not going to do that. You know, simply because I know better, and it's unfortunate that that's been what you have been exposed to, and you think that that's how we all behave. You know, being told that you're well spoken is not a compliment when you're 30. You know, I mean, come on.
It's not.
It's not a compliment at all.
Like, no, I mean, you know, if you're 17, I mean, if you're 17 and you know you look a little you know, hip hopish, you know, then you start speaking. It might be a surprise to some, but I'm a 30-year-old woman. I'm working in a corporate, you know, Fortune 5 million organization. Please, you know, don't do me like that, basically. So, but it's because those particular people, all they saw was TV and rap videos, and you know, that's what they thought. It just encompasses Black people, and I think we need to do a better job of putting us in different categories. You know, I know that you all talked about Scandal and, you know, that sort of those sort of shows that Shonda does, and you know, she does a decent job of making brown people not just look hip hopish, you know, or loud or ignorant. But I think we're just kind of on the cusp of getting out of this bubble of reality TV and how, you know, all Black women act this way, you know, and or that that's why Black men don't like Black women. And, you know, getting away from all of that, I think we're right there on the edge of that.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, honestly, that's why we're here. That's literally why this podcast exists, is that I was tired of seeing one specific sort of representation of myself, and knowing that sort was that representation was dead wrong. dead wrong. So that's why we're here. Hopefully, we're changing the narrative.
Indeed.
Okay. Sonia,
Yeah.
did you have something you wanted to? Go ahead.
No, we kind of talked about mine. Mine was going to be talking about Selma. So we covered what, in the beginning with my topic. So I'm good.
Okay.
Oh, I will say, and this
You
is
good?
something I want to ask. I changed my mind. So I don't know if anyone has had the opportunity to see what happened in Duncanville, Texas. I believe it was Duncanville, Texas, where the young men were pulled over. And they were pulled over because a cop was called and said that there were some young men who had a gun and they were showing it off. And when the police officer arrived, of course, he did, based on procedure, told them to sit down. And one young man really didn't listen, and he kind of started walking towards the police officer. He did have his hands up. And then the other two young men, they were very kind of nonchalant with the fact that this police officer was approaching them. And I kind of wanted to get you all's feedback. I don't know if you had the opportunity to see it, but it to me, okay, so this happened this week, and I hope people have opportunity to see it. So even what was a little scary, we could have had another issue where some young men were shot because of a misunderstanding. And that's what the police officer said. And the police officer pretty much said that what they did have was a BB gun, but it looked so much like an actual gun that from a distance, if someone pulled that out, you wouldn't have an idea if it was real or fake. And so the young men ended up just sitting on the curb, and one wouldn't listen for, it took him a very long time to process, just sit down and have your hands up, because he was called there for a reason. So he wasn't profiling them. He was called and had a specific detail of what they were wearing, etc. And so what was scary was these young men could have lost their lives. And the parents, they showed up, and the parents actually upset with the boys, which I too think as a parent, I don't have children, but if I had kids and my child doesn't follow procedures to save his own life, it just kind of makes you think, how often are children not going through the procedures, and are we teaching them the procedures of when you are confronted with a police officer, what did you do? So I guess my question would be, what do you all think? Do you think a procedure to be taught to how to handle it, or just go about it as they probably went about
Chris,
it?
Well, I have sons.
Why don't you're the mom of 5 boys. Yeah,
Yes.
Go ahead.
I have sons, and after, this past year, my respect for police protocol, or a person's protocol with the police, has definitely increased. Not just because of the shootings, but just in general as a police officer. Like you said, they were called there for a reason. If you do what you're asked, you're not being violated in any way. I'm not saying, do what you're told. He's actually doing his job. Have a seat, put your hands in the air. I'm going to search the car. Blah 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 blah. Do that. If you can't do that, you are putting your life in danger for no reason.
Right.
So I would definitely be angry at my child if they did the opposite of what was asked. I'm in no way saying that police brutality or anything like that is okay. I'm simply saying that as a parent, and I believe that even the mayor of New York said, I've had to have conversations with my children of when you are dealing with the police, you need to 100% do what you're asked to do. Now, if someone is asking you again to do something that's against your rights, or that's a violation of actual protocol, then that's a different story. I'm not, I saw some crazy video where the police asked somebody to sodomize somebody or something like that. No, I'm not talking about that type of stuff. But just legitimately sit down and put your hands up. That whether you're black, white, Mexican, any color, you need to do that. Let this be done, and we can move forward, and see what's going on, what's happening. Are you being profiled? Is this ridiculousness? But if you stop them before they can even, get to that by not cooperating, then you're putting them in the position of where it looks like you are doing something wrong, you know? Because why won't you put your hands up? Why won't you have a seat?
Mm-hmm.
Because are you trying to hide something? Is it
Right.
something else? Should I be afraid? Is it something that's going to jump out of this car that could possibly, hurt me? Or, is it a body? Is it, that's what a police officer is trained to look into. So it's almost like you're giving them reason to think that I should be on my guard. So if you do flinch a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
you might get shot because now they're on their guard,
Right.
and they shouldn't be. But if you had just sat down on the curb, which is not disrespectful, which is not violating your rights. He didn't hog tie them. He didn't, tell them, lick the ground, or anything like that. So yes, I would definitely be upset as a parent. Like, you could have gotten shot today because you didn't want to follow directions. That's not okay. Not at all.
Right.
Right.
Right. Well, I think,
And they had
I'm
it on
not,
tape.
I'm not a teenage boy.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. I'm not a teenage boy, and so, I can't say this with 100% certainty, but I think what these boys what they're struggling against is that they are being targeted. Like, and
Yes.
I feel like, well, first of all, I feel like they don't have the tools to articulate that in a way that's productive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, the police were called for a reason.
But why they called?
What was that reason?
But who called and why did
Exactly.
they? Right. Was it because of the gun?
Exactly. And I feel like that's what these boys are. That's what they're rebelling against, and maybe they don't have the tools to articulate that, and their anger is maybe even misdirected. You're mad at this cop, but it's really this entire system this entire world that we live in that has criminalized being black and male or being young black and male.
Right.
That's not, even though this cop is a part of that system, that's not necessarily his or her fault, is what I'm saying. Again, not that I'm defending, not following orders, because it's silly and dangerous. And if you're black, it can and does get you killed. Exactly. So, I'm not defending that, but I understand. I do. And, not saying if I found out one of your boys, didn't do what the police told them, I would strangle them. Myself, I would fly from Dallas to Michigan, get off the plane, strangle each one of them, get back on the plane, and come home. Like, no.
I totally understand what you're saying.
I understand what these boys are confronting. I do.
I do too. But I feel like from an intelligent standpoint, standing there and not doing what you're told is not going to fix the problem. It is still a problem. Absolutely. And if you are at all, as a parent,
absolutely.
a tax-paying parent, if you do what you're told and things are not followed, the way that they should be, trust and believe your very brown mother would be down there with a lawyer. Okay. Not just for you,
and your very brown auntie will be right there with her.
Right. Not just for you and for this actual arrest or non-arrest, but also for the department and the protocol. And I'm calling Channel 7 and I'm calling Channel 2. Those are the things that you do to fight this type of a system. But standing there as an unarmed black child with a white police officer getting squirrely is not the way to get your point across. It's just not. It's going to get you shot. And that's...
You're absolutely right, yeah.
That's not right. It shouldn't be.
Just do what they say. Even if it's unfair, it's not fair. We all know it's not fair. Exactly. But just do it anyway and live to complain about it.
Exactly. And the way that you complain about it is the way that things get changed. I think that's kind of the basis of what Selma is about. They had to go through things the way that they had to go through them. They got dog sicked on them. They got assaulted and it ended up being televised, and it was like, oh my God, wait a minute. Right. So they had to go through it to get to the other side of it. And I think that that's what a lot of our youth don't realize. It's, you bucking up at the police is not going to change the system today. That's going to get you shot. So I think that if we think about it, be a little more intellectual about it. At this point, it's almost like, I wish I would go ahead and do something that's against my rights so that I can call the people because I'm going to. That's kind of where we need to be instead of, no, I ain't about to do that. I'm not getting down. You're going to get shot. What is that going to prove? Yet another dead person. That's not going to help us. Right. And
Yeah.
nobody wants that, so
No.
I would definitely be quite irritated. Like I said, I'm more than happy to fight the good fight, but let's fight it with some actual weapons that can be used. Your dead
Right.
body is not a weapon.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. Yes, your dead body is not a weapon. I
Talk
like that.
about.
So, but no.
Okay. Well, it looks like we've gone a little bit over, but it's so fascinating talking to you guys. Did you guys have anything you wanted to shout out, or anybody you wanted to shout out, or any? There were quite a few topics that we didn't get to this week. There's been so much side eye to
Right,
go around.
so much. So much.
Should have been so much
Well,
side eye, so
definitely.
little time.
Right. Well,
But was there anything that you guys wanted to shout out, or?
I definitely want to shout out my wonderful, illustrious sorority, Delta Sigma Theta, Sorority Incorporated. Um,
Woohoo.
there is a lot going on. We are just a few days away from being 102. Our founder
Wow,
today
you
is,
look good for 102.
I know, right, girl? I try. But January 13th, 1913. So I'm sure, you can look for a Delta party near you. I know they're out there. That and overall, I really like to shout out the host of this show because I think
Thank you.
that you're doing a great job. And as a guest, I think that this is wonderful. And Sunny, as a co-host, you did an awesome job as well. You guys make it interesting. It's getting better and better each time. So
Thank you.
If I could just work my way around the technology, but we won't talk about that for now.
good luck in future endeavors. Okay. But I think you guys did a great job, and I'm glad I got a chance to be here.
Well, thank you. And
you.
Miss Sunny, parting words?
Well, how should I say? Well, I hope everyone goes out and has a great week, and just again, this is another awesome week of a podcast. I too want to say thank you to you, Tamika, but also thank you, Miss Christina, for joining us. It's been a blast. Awesome. But it's good to have different perspectives of all the topics that we discuss, and I think that as we continue to go out there, let's continue to be a motivation for someone else and a blessing to someone else. So I hope you guys have a wonderful week.
All right, I like it. Well, with that, have a wonderful week, a wonderful and blessed week with lots of side-eye.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we'll see you all next week. Many blessings. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.